I have a lot of manga, hundreds upon hundreds. So much so that I resorted to boxing them up to keep from losing any more wall space. But I don't just collect your typical English or Japanese manga. I have a huge interest in hentai manga. Everything from the old classics like Yurosuke Doji by Toshio Maeda, to more modern age manga like Netorai no Heroine by Konkit. And it doesn't just stop there, I even collect hentai magazines and doujinshi. And I've read a lot more than I own. So I consider myself a fan of hentai. So when I heard that one of the most popular English hentai scan sites, Fakku, was teaming up with Wani Publishing to publish English hentai manga in the States, my jaw dropped. I had to rush over and pre-order my copy of their first book, Renai Sample, by Homunculus. We're talking the same publisher who publishes works by Tsukino Jogi, Linda, and many others. This is a big deal for the American hentai publisher market. With Icarus no longer around and the fate of Euro's comics debatable, it was seeming like the hentai manga industry was solely in Project H's hands. So we now have Fakku in the hentai manga publishing ring, and I now have my hands on their first book, Renai Sample. Now this review isn't going to focus so much on the stories in the book since it's an anthology, but rather the quality of the book and how it stands against the Japanese counter. We'll go over the art and stories to get on with the quality check. The art is soft and warm with a vanilla feel. The lines aren't too heavy and the body proportions seem to take a more realistic touch. The screen tones are used very efficiently without being too heavy or too light. It looks and feels like the average standard you see a lot nowadays, with a nice variance in character designs and looks. Homunculus' style, while not instantly recognizable like, say, Yumisuke Koteyoshi's or Shiwazu no Akina's, has a nice vibe and flows well for how the stories are written. His writing style tends to stay with the more vanilla and romance feel similar to some of Hiroshi Itaba's works, with the stories covering a number of subcategories under the vanilla standard. So if you want warm, feel-good stories with appropriate art, this one would be one for you to pick up. Now on to the main part, the quality check. Most publishers in the States leave a ton of things out when a title is brought over stateside, like dust covers, mini posters, and art on the underside of the dust cover. Most people who collect Japanese manga will always say the English version is inferior. This is the case most times with Japanese hentai manga as well. The quality of the pages go down and the dust covers are dropped. So when Fakku said it was going to have comparable quality to the Japanese release, I was skeptical. However, upon receiving the book and getting my hands on it, all that went away. It was heavy, just like the Japanese release. The pages were thick, even the dust cover is comparable to the Japanese releases. I was shocked. This is what a hentai manga, no, this is what a manga should be when it's brought over to the American market. It did everything right. It has the dust cover, it has underside art, it has the color pages, it even has a poster. Most of the time with Japanese releases, many publishers add bonuses, whether it be cardstock artist-drawn bookmark things, posters, or color pages. One of these three is most always in a Japanese hentai release. Sadly, these are dropped almost all the time when an English release happens. It's so refreshing and revitalizing to see that Fakku has set such a high standard for their first release. It's far above anything else that's being released stateside. The closest publisher I can relate them to would be Euro's Comics, because their books were the best hentai manga I had seen before this. Now, the #1 spot, not just in hentai manga quality, but manga quality in general, for the stateside market is Fakku. I can't praise this book enough. I can explain why it's good all day, but without holding it in your hands, it won't do it justice. So if you want the top-of-the-line manga released in America, pick this book up. So I hope you'll go and pick this book up, or one of the many others that Fakku will be releasing, because with your support, we can see more hentai manga in America. If this grows and becomes a big success, maybe other publishers will follow suit and team up with Fakku. Imagine Muujin or Shingeki, Comic Hot Milk, any of the other hentai manga publishers in Japan. Imagine if they teamed up and followed suit. Wouldn't that be a wonderful thing? So until next time, happy fapping.